Hey guys, welcome back. This week I'm so excited to share these cookie and treat recipes with you for Christmas. I made several different recipes for my husband to take to work to share with his coworkers. Baking and giving away cookie trays is one of my favorite parts of Christmas. Today I'm going to be sharing 6 of the recipes that I made, and I really hope you enjoy this video and get some inspiration to do some holiday baking with your family. First up, I actually shared this on Instagram, but if you missed it, I'm going to share it again. We are making Reindeer Chow. You will need 2 cups of rice Chex cereal, 1.5 cups of Honey Nut Cheerios, 1 cup of holiday M&Ms, and 1 cup of pretzels. Next, you're going to need the vanilla flavored almond bark, and you're only going to need half of this package, which is 12 ounces. You are just going to melt this almond bark in the microwave in 15-second increments until the almond bark has completely melted. I'm going to pour half of this almond bark on here and then give it a mix. And then after I've mixed it, I'm going to add the other half of almond bark and then give it another good mix together. Over on my table, I laid down some parchment paper, wax paper, or aluminum foil will work fine for this as well. You just need something to protect it from the surface. I'm going to go ahead and dump my entire bowl of Reindeer Chow on here, and then we're just going to spread it out a little bit. Next, I'm just taking these holiday sprinkles and I'm going to add this to the top of my Reindeer Chow. Add as much as you want. You just want to do it before your almond bark starts to harden up. And then after it has hardened, this is what it's going to look like. You can break this up in small pieces or chunks however you want to. It's so good and definitely a hit. Up next, I'm making these Ritz cracker cookies, and this was my first time trying these out, and we absolutely loved them. In my bowl, I have 2 sleeves of Ritz crackers, and then I just have some regular peanut butter right here. What I'm doing is just taking 1 cracker, adding peanut butter to it, and then another cracker on the top, kind of like a sandwich. I did see in some recipes they used other things besides peanut butter, like almond butter or other types of nut butter, so you can decide what's best, but we actually really loved this peanut butter, which is saying a lot because I actually am not a peanut butter fan. Next, in my bowl, I'm adding in 12 ounces of vanilla almond bark. I'm going to melt this in the microwave for 15 seconds to give it a stir, and then another 15 seconds until it has completely melted through. Once your almond bark has melted, you're just going to take your little cracker cookie and dip that in the almond bark. Make sure you shake off all the excess, that way it's not drenched, and then you're just going to transfer it to wax paper, parchment paper, or aluminum foil, whatever you have. And then you can leave these plain, or you can make them a little bit more festive with some sprinkles over the top. Just make sure you add the sprinkles before the almond bark hardens. These will honestly set up pretty fast, so you don't have to wait too long before you try one, but they are really good if you stick them in the freezer. I actually prefer to eat them frozen. And then this is what they look like when you bite into them. Definitely a big hit with my husband. He finished off the bag tonight, so I will definitely be making these again and again. Up next, this is a super easy recipe. You can get it done so quick. I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 350 degrees. We're actually going to be using these peanut butter Betty Crocker cookie mixes, and into my bowl I'm going to go ahead and dump both bags of those in here. On the back of the bag it tells you exactly how much oil and water to add, so we're adding in 4 tablespoons of oil as well as 2 tablespoons of water. You can actually just go ahead and mix this one by hand, but since I already had my mixer out, I went ahead and just tossed it in there. Here's what the dough is going to look like after you get it all mixed up, and then into my bowl I'm also going to add in 4 ounces of Reese's Pieces. I started mixing with my spatula, but honestly it was much easier for me just to get in there with my hands and really get it incorporated. Onto my cookie sheet I have some parchment paper, and as you can see I'm making pretty big cookies with this. I love to make pretty large cookies for my cookie trays. I feel like it just amps it up a bit. Once I get these rolled out, I'm just adding them onto the parchment paper and then giving them a light push. I do not want them to be super flat. I want them to stay pretty puffy and thick, but I also do not want them to stay in a round ball. So that's why I do push them down a little bit, and then I also add on any loose Reese's onto the top. That way they're not going to waste. Something I always do to my peanut butter cookies is I add a little bit of sugar onto the tops. I don't know what it does, but I feel like it just makes the peanut butter cookies way better. You do not have to make your cookies this large. Go ahead and make them smaller if you want to. You'll just have to adjust your time a little bit. I cooked these for about 11 minutes, and this is what they look like when they came out of the oven. Again, you're just going to hit these with just a small amount of sugar over the top, and let me tell you, these cookies were a huge hit with my husband's coworkers. He told me they were the first ones gone and they gobbled them up. They are very delicious. Like I said, I am not a peanut butter fan, but these are good. Now I'm going to show you how to make these melted snowman sugar cookies. I actually used my aunt's sugar cookie recipe, and I don't know if she's comfortable with me sharing it online, so you can use any type of sugar cookie or cutout cookie recipe that you'd like. Same goes for the icing. You can use any icing you want to. I'm actually just using some cake frosting. It works perfect for this. I'm just spreading a nice spoonful across the top of my cookie, and where I left off here with the spoon, the thickest part, I'm going to add a large marshmallow. Just go ahead and push that marshmallow down. That way you can make sure it is secure when the icing hardens up. Now I'm just using some sanding sugar. I believe this is white or clear. It's just going to make it look like the snow when it's in the sun and it sparkles. Next, we're just going to take some black icing. I picked up this small tube from the dollar store, and you're just going to use this to create your eyes as well as your mouth, and you can make this guy smiling, or if you want to make him upset because he melted, you can do that too. Either way is fine. And then in a separate piping bag, I have some orange that I made up with the rest of my white icing, and we're just going to use that to make the little carrot nose. I like to draw the face first because if you mess up, go ahead and pull the marshmallow off and then just put a new one in its place and you can start over. After creating the face, you're just going to take the black icing again and create the little arms. And then for this next part, you're just going to add a little bit of sprinkles onto the icing right in front of the face. And this is the buttons that have melted off the snowman. These turned out so stinking cute. We live in a really hot area and it never snows here, so I just thought these were so darling and very fitting. Now we're making these strawberry and white chocolate cookies. I'm going to start by preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Into my mixing bowl, I'm adding 1 box of vanilla cake mix, 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese, 1 stick of butter, 1 egg, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. Now I'm just attaching my paddle, and we are just going to get that combined. Now you're going to add 1 package of freeze-dried strawberries, and I'm going to link the original recipe below for you because this is actually supposed to be done with raspberries to make a copycat Subway cookie, but my Walmart actually subbed my raspberries for strawberries, so I just went ahead and went with it. And then I'm also adding in a half cup of white chocolate chips. You will want to use a spoon or a spatula like I'm using to combine the strawberries and the chocolate chips, that way they don't get too crushed. Onto my lined baking sheet, I'm just going to drop spoonfuls of this all over. The original recipe says to actually press the dough down with your hand or a glass, but mine was a little sticky, so I just left it as is. These baked in the oven for about 10 minutes, and when they came out, this is what they looked like. I have to say these cookies don't look super appealing, but they are one of my new favorite cookies, and I'm really excited to try out the raspberry like they're supposed to be next time. I also just wanted to show you how I'm freezing most of these cookies that we're making today. I just use a gallon-sized freezer bag and parchment paper, and I break the parchment paper into smaller pieces just to create layers between the cookies. A lot of times when I make cookie trays, I start baking weeks ahead and then I put them in the freezer so they can stay nice and fresh. And then when it's time to build my trays, I just pull them out, let them thaw, and they are still delicious as ever. And last but not least, we're making these iced sugar cookie bars. I'm starting by preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Into my bowl, I'm adding in 1 stick of butter and 1 cup of sugar, and we're just going to get that cream together. Now we're adding in 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then you will slowly add in 2 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now I'm just going to add in 2 tablespoons of sprinkles. You can use whatever sprinkles you want to. I'm using the same ones I've used throughout the video. And I'm just going to get in there with my hands and get those combined because they are a little hard to get combined into the dough. As you can see, I have a 9x9 pan here that I have lined with parchment paper. This is just going to make it super easy to lift the cookie out at the end. This dough is super thick, so it's going to take a minute for you to get it evened out, but you just want to make sure it's even all the way across your pan. This baked in my oven for about 23 minutes. When it was done, I let it cool in the pan for about 10 minutes, and then after that I removed it to a cooling rack. For the icing, into my bowl I'm adding in 1 stick of butter, 2 cups of powdered sugar, 3 ounces of cream cheese, which is a little bit more than the recipe called for, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of milk, and then we're just going to get that mixed together. Last time I made these, I left the icing white, but this time I had some new food coloring and I thought to myself, let's make them red, but let's be honest here, this red looks pink. But it's totally fine, everybody still loved them, no biggie. But anyways, once my icing is done, I'm just going to go ahead and spread that across my cookie bars. After you get the icing on, you're just going to top it with a little bit more of those sprinkles. I set those aside for a little while to let them firm up, and then this is what they look like when I cut them up into squares. I will have any recipes I used linked down below for you if you're interested in the original recipes. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I really hope this inspired you to do some holiday baking with your family, with your kids, and make those special memories.